Okay, welcome back to the goRIA live stream. We are still taping and recording live here in Phoenix, Arizona for the FPA National Conference. And with me right now, we have Diana Cabrices of Diana Cabrices Consulting.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Diana.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, and before we get into the conversation, let me just quickly thank our sponsor, LPL Financial. As I like to say, if you like LPL as an independent broker-dealer, you will love LPL as an RIA custodian. Excellent value proposition there. Okay, so we have Diana with us, which is a real treat. I've heard so many great things about even here at the FPA conference. You just put on a great show, but your content's so meaningful, right? So here's what I would love to talk about, if this is cool with you.
Mhm.
Our audience is made up of advisors looking to go RIA.
Yep.
And especially if they've been in like a wirehouse or some other more captive environment for, in some cases, decades. They want to know who are the resources to help me make this move? Who should I be looking at? Who can give me help? Because now I don't have the wirehouse that's providing everything for me. I want that freedom. I want that independence, but I want the support. What can you tell these people?
So first, before you even start with the who, I personally think you need to start with the what.
Okay.
And the understanding, the general understanding, Chuck, that when you leave a firm like a wirehouse, you have so much more marketing freedom. Now, you don't have all the freedom, but you have much more marketing freedom. So most advisors at wirehouses, they're not used to being able to show up on video and be themselves and kind of craft their own value
Try this
prop.
at your wirehouse, guys. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it'll spend
Easily.
3 months in compliance. So they're just not used to that. They're not used to proprietary or non-proprietary technology, all these different options that they might have. So I think first and foremost, taking the mindset that I'm going independent, which means there's going to be more flexibility. It also means there's a lot more options.
That's right.
Because usually when you're at a wirehouse, this is the marketing tool, this is the marketing strategy, and that's that. And there's a beauty to that as well, right? Just having the simplicity. And so I think if you're coming into this space new and fresh, you might be a little bit overwhelmed. And I've heard plenty of new advisors tell me that have made the switch, like, wow, this is pretty overwhelming. I don't really know where to start. So first and foremost, starting with the mindset, and then deciding, who exactly do I want to work with, which you might not know the perfect answer to. You might spend time really building that out and figuring out, do I have a niche or do I not have a niche? But once you have that figured out, then I would recommend, okay, what are my options? Now I'm going to start the search. Now, there are two sides to marketing in the space. There are great marketing technologies that will help you. There are also great marketing consultants that will help you, and agencies as well. I personally would start the agency consultant route. If you have the funds for it, probably more of like a freelance consultant would be a little bit, less of a spend up front. But getting help first, laying the groundwork of what is your value proposition and how are you different from other advisors in this space? Because saying you're independent is just not enough anymore. It's not enough of a differentiator. And so once you kind of lay the groundwork with these people, because agencies and consultants, they're going to give you more hands-on, one-on-one support. Only then would I say, okay, then start going to explore some technology. And just to list some agencies out there, right? We know Intentionally is a very fast-growing agency, and I love everyone there. They're doing an amazing job. Kelly Waldrick, Tina Powell, just fabulous people. And I think they're an awesome solution to kind of lay that groundwork. There's also consultants. There's Nikki Clark Marketing. There is, Callie Collective. I know she's here at the FPA conference. And so really being able to just spend that one-on-one time with marketing consultants, I think is a great plan. Now, then you go into the tech space, Chuck, and you start to look at all the options. And there are so many options.
For sure.
There's Snappy Kraken, of course. I spent some time at Snappy Kraken, always a fan of their content. There's FMG Suite. There's now White Glove, who's really amplified and sort of elevating in that wealth tech space, because they're not only doing seminars, but now they're also doing technology and nurturing. And so just kind of going around and looking at these tools, but doing it in a way where you're asking the right questions. So some advisors who are switching from a wirehouse, I should say most, are probably not going to be bringing their distribution with them. They're probably not bringing their pipeline with them. They probably couldn't bring much of their clients, if any, with them when they make the switch. And so you should be asking these companies, are you building distribution for me, or are you relying on my distribution? Because if they're relying on your distribution for that marketing tool to actually work for you, then maybe you want to rethink the strategy, because you're completely missing top of funnel, right? You're completely missing targeting brand new people who've never met you before. So I was just on stage here at the conference alongside Penny Phillips, Justin Mack, and Matt Middleton, who I respect so much. And this was a topic that we discussed, right? Is asking the right questions as you're going out and exploring the different tools. Again, are you building distribution, or are you using my distribution? And really just, getting a feel for the content. Can I see your content? What are your strategies? And narrowing that down to figure out what's best for you. You might not want to start a blog. You don't have to. But you might know video is a great way to humanize your business. So what video tools are out there? Idea Decanter. I know they're here now.
They're coming on next, in fact. Yes.
Okay. They're incredible. So just really exploring and narrowing it down to have a simple plan where you're not overwhelmed.
All right. Sounds good. So a bit like drinking from a fire hose, right? There's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the good news, bad news, right? So the good news is you can do a lot more. The bad news is you could do a lot more, right? And you want to hone in on what exactly do you want to do. So we see that all the time when we see advisors make that move from that wirehouse space, or the broker-dealer space in general, where they have that FINRA type compliance, which tends to be much more arduous than RIA compliance, which is not to say that RIA compliance is weak.
Right.
In my biased opinion, I think it's more sensible, right? Because in the RIA space, you're already dealing with fiduciaries. So you're more worried about accuracy. Whereas in the FINRA world, where there is sometimes some conflicts that have to be disclosed and hyper disclosed, it makes it so challenging to get anything through FINRA. And that's one of the reasons why I went to the RIA space. So the RIA space, higher payout, absolutely. Complete freedom of product, you bet. But the ability to do marketing on my terms, that was really the driving force. And I kind of joked about it before, but there's no way I'm doing live stream after live stream and having each one of those approved by the FINRA compliance department at my broker dealer.
It's not a live stream.
Right. I mean, you're laughing, but that's how it is, right? It's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to know there are so many resources out there.
Yep.
All right. That's fantastic. What are some other things that you want to and we can just kind of free flow here.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be marketing, but
I'd love to.
What should these advisors be thinking about before they make that switch?
Absolutely. So, when it comes to marketing, I would say, think about like the lowest risk, lowest cost investment that you can make. We know a website's important. We know social media is important, and no, you don't have to be everywhere. But again, when we're thinking about what's going to differentiate me, those are staples at this point. Having a website, having a social media is a staple. How else can we double down on our digital footprint, as I like to say, without having to put a lot of time or energy or money into a solution? Well, we all know Michael Kitces, right? He puts out amazing data on marketing for advisors. And I've been looking lately and I've been seeing, these top marketing strategies based on cost, based on time, and a risk, of course. And of course, what's happening now? Advisors are trust-based professionals. So are attorneys, and so are doctors. And when you look at those industries, right, and we often look outside of our industry for inspiration, we're seeing these directories where they have online reviews where you can figure out what this doctor is about, what's their methodology, what are their hours of operation, what's their background. And that's exactly what's starting to happen in this space. And they're popping up like crazy. And I personally work with one of these online directories, Wealth Tender. And what we're doing is we're driving consumers to our site where they're looking for financial advice and maybe even an advisor. So for example, and this is the way people search today, very specific. I started a business. What accounts do I need to open in lieu of having a 401k as a W-2, right? That could be probably a lot shorter, but that could be a very specific search. Well, we've got an article for that, and it happens to have really good domain authority. And so now we're getting those consumers on our website, and from there, we're sort of serving them up with the education, but now we're also promoting the advisor unique to that field or even unique to where they might live locally. And now they have options. Now they can see, oh, this is an advisor I can work with or a coach that I could work with. So again, it's sort of doubling down. Now, when you think about traffic, over 500,000 people visited wealthtender.com in the last 12 months. Most advisors cannot say that about their website or about their social media profile. But again, if you have a listing here and you're mentioned in the media here and you've got reviews here, right now you are expanding your digital footprint, but you're also accelerating the trust process with people who are looking online. And I will also just add, for the younger advisors making the switch, because a lot of them get started in the wirehouses because it's the shiny thing, it's the paycheck, right? It's the structure, which I think is important. I respect advisors who start with those bigger firms because they learn some of that structure and then they take it and they make that leap of faith, and in and of itself that is very, very respectable. But as they do that, right, thinking about, okay, how can I get more people to find me? I'm a young advisor. I know that I don't have a big referral base right now, but I do know the people that I want to work with. Maybe they're millennials, maybe they're tech executives, millennials. They're on the internet, right? They're searching online for financial advice. They're searching for an advisor, and they're using social proof to figure out, are you somebody I want to work with, right? So just getting into the digital space is the easiest way that you possibly can with the least amount of investment, I think is very smart. And right now, again, we know online advisor directories are becoming a real thing in this industry, as they've been in other industries with trust-based professionals.
Fantastic. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap up for today.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, you've touched on probably 3 different things I would like to do a deeper dive into.
Okay.
Would you come back maybe next month virtually? We'll do a podcast together.
I'd love to do it.
Is that cool?
Let's do it, Chuck.
All right.
Yeah.
Diana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
My expectations for this was high, and you crushed. It was fantastic.
Thank you
Great
so
content.
much.
And our audience appreciates it.
Absolutely.
All right. Really good. So again, on behalf of goRIA and Investment News, I'm Chuck Vela, and we're going to continue live streaming today from the FPA conference in Phoenix. We've got, I think, 3 more coming later today, so stand by for those. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Take care.